Hello everyone and welcome to another video. So it's not a podcast video today. I just wanted to release this slightly out of order because I've got a podcast episode that's essentially ready to go up from August. But last weekend, 21st of September, I went to a yarn show here in Austria. So it's the first time I've been to one in Austria, and I believe it's also the first time that I've been to a yarn show outside of the UK, as far as I'm aware. And I already made the decision before I went. I wasn't gonna film any footage there because I just really wanted to enjoy the experience because I'd never been before. So the yarn show is called Wolltra Wien. I think it is, with the Wien, which is Vienna in German. And I believe it happens every year in March and in September, and it's just been growing over the last few years since the yarn show started. But this is the first time I've managed to go. Like, I've been in Austria for previous ones, but it just never worked out that I had time on that weekend. And yeah, so I was really happy that I could finally go and see all the beautiful hand dyers from Austria. But I already made the decision beforehand. I was like, I am going to be focused on finding fiber because I am still very much into my spinning. And I was like, I have plenty of yarn. And it's sort of like the fiber that I don't have as much. And it's a lot easier to be like, I'll just buy 100 grams because just to experiment and get a feel for it. And then it can always be like a contrast color for color work or work up in some sort of other smaller project like I've sort of been doing with some of my hand spun. So that was my goal kind of going into it. And like I said, I don't have any footage of when I was there because it was the first time I was there and I just wanted to enjoy it. So I'm sorry for that, but you know, there might be another video in the future. And yeah, so first of all, I couldn't believe the fact that it was an incredible show. It wasn't huge, so it wasn't like Yarndale size or anything like that. I went to the Wool Monty when I was in the UK in June, I believe it was. And I think it was about the same size, maybe a little bit bigger than the Wool Monty. So it was, you know, maybe like 30, 40 stalls or something. And really beautiful yarn, but also project bags. Someone was weaving and sold like the finished woven items. There were a lot of different other sort of like wool adjacent crafts, which was nice to see. And what was really crazy for me, which I hadn't considered before I went, is the fact that I got there and soon after arriving, someone came up to me because they watched my podcast videos. I hadn't even considered that any of the people who watch here would be there. And so it was sort of surreal, especially because, so how it kind of happened was I was wearing the Skeeter skirt, which I've been testing, and I just finished, like the last finishing touches before the yarn show. And that will be in not the next podcast episode because that's the old one, but the podcast episode after that. I'll share everything about that. And someone stopped me and wanted to ask about what pattern it is that I'd used for the skirt. But when I turned around, she then kind of was really shocked and just surprised. And she was like, oh my God, I watched your YouTube videos. And then I was really shocked and surprised and didn't really know how to react. And we just briefly spoke to each other, and it was just really lovely. And there were a couple of other people as well who came up to me and, you know, said that they love my videos and they watch, and it was just really, really nice. And I'm sorry if I was awkward at all or just didn't really say much. I was just so surprised by all of it. But that first person who saw me and was like, I watch your videos. She then came back later to me and she gave me a little, like she pressed a little her bag in my hand and I was like, what is going on now? And she bought me a present. So she went to the shop, well, the stall is called Filzwerkstatt. So that's like felted things that they specialize in. And she got me this. How cute is that? So it's a felted bag. And I'm going to be using it to store like a lot of the notions that I use essentially every day. So things like probably a ruler, my barber cord, stitch markers, some darning needles, things like that. Because this is really special to me that someone, you know, actually went and bought this specifically for me because she was so excited that I was there, and it just warms my heart. Like, obviously presents are not required, but it was just a really nice thing. So this bag means a lot to me and came from that yarn show. So yeah, that was lovely. So thank you. She watches my German videos, I'm assuming, because she's from Austria. But yeah, so that was the first thing that I got there, and that was so nice. And then it was essentially all I bought was spinning fibre. Because there was a lot of really beautiful hand-dyed yarn, and it was really nice to be able to see it in person instead of just like looking at it on their website or on Instagram and things like that. But I kind of had to hold myself back a bit and be smart about my purchases, because I've had it more and more that superwash yarn, especially superwash merino, hasn't been my favorite to work with for a while now. I still have plenty of it in my stash and it is beautiful and I do use it. It's just, especially for like sock projects, I don't mind it. But for a full garment, I'm much more of a fan of non-superwash yarn. So for the most part, everything there was superwash. There were a couple of more like rustic, locally produced yarn, which was beautiful, and I was tempted by. And there's one yarn shop in Vienna called Wollhabitat. I'll have this all linked below. And they had a stall there, and they had this gorgeous yarn which was 100% yak. It was 50 grams, and it was like a light fingering sort of lace thickness, but then it bloomed so much when you blocked it, so it became like a really decent fingering weight, but you had the yardage, way more yardage. But 50 grams was 30 euros because it's hand spun somewhere else. I can't remember. Nepal, Tibet, no idea, I can't remember. But it's hand spun, and like says the person, the names of the people who spun it and everything, and so I completely get why it costs that much. It was such special yarn, like it felt incredible and looked incredible, and I just kind of felt it's not the sort of thing that I would just spontaneously buy. I was like, this has to be something that I've thought about, that I've planned, and I then want to, you know, buy like 50 grams or 100 grams at most and really have it be like the focal point of the whole project. And I just didn't have anything in mind, and I was like, well, I know this yarn shop, I have been there, I have purchased from them multiple times online, the yarn isn't going anywhere, hopefully, and I can just take some time to plan, and maybe in the future, you know, splurge and get a skein or two. But anyway, back to what I actually bought. So the first fibre that I bought is from Nelly's Wollwerkstatt. Isn't this a beautiful red? So this is 100% merino. It's 200 grams of it. And I thought that was amazing because it was €18.90, and I was like, hello, that's a decent price for this, especially 200 grams. And I saw that red, it was like staring at me from across the way, and I was like, I have to go home with that. But then next to it was also this beautiful skein. Well, braid, I guess. It's not a skein, is it? And this is also 100% merino. Yeah, 200 grams. Beautiful. And I'm so excited to spin this up. And I think this one might be the first one out of the ones I bought that I spin up, because it's just gorgeous. I'm in love with red at the minute. And she had a lot of different colors and they were all beautiful. But I was just really drawn, like I said, to the red, and then this more like neutral brown, but with a load of different colors through it, which is going to look so beautiful when you spin it up, because you're going to get those lighter, darker bits, but it will all kind of like blend together. Also had some beautiful hand-dyed yarn, but like I said, I'm not buying superwash right now. I'll buy it for other people if I'm knitting them something, but for me personally, I'm like, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it to myself, because I know I don't get as much enjoyment out of it, and yarn should be enjoyed. Then I went to Wollwerkstatt Meierhof, and this is an undyed braid. This is 100 grams. This is 60% Polworth, 20% yak, 20% silk. So it's just the natural color of all those fibers, and it feels so good. It was sort of a theme, an unintentional theme from what I could figure out, but there was a lot of yak yarn, sometimes like 10%, 20%, or like the 100% yarn as well. There was a lot of yak, and there was a lot of like baby camel blends as well. So I saw this and I was like, ooh, it's got yak in it. Yes, please. Because I was like, I'm not buying the skeins. Might as well get a braid of it, so I can spin it up. And then from the same place, I picked up this, which is 50% baby camel, 50% merino. So once again, I was like, baby camel and yak. It was everywhere, and it makes me very happy because I love yak. I love the like moodiness of what yak does when it's dyed, because of that like grey undertone. And baby camel is like the brown bits that you can see everywhere mixed through, and it feels so good, and it's just lovely. So yeah, bought those two as well, and so that's 4 braids, but 600 grams because 2 of them are 200 grams. And that's all the like wool things. There's only one other thing that I bought, which was like also the biggest purchase that I made. It was pretty pricey, but it is beautiful and so worth it. So I bought a bag. This is from 222. She makes these kind of bags. She makes project bags, notion bags, needle cases, a load of things. And it's got these short straps. It's got these longer straps as well. 2 of them. And it has pockets on the outside too. So absolutely beautiful. It's made of linen, and it's got linen on the inside as well. Beautiful fabric. Pockets with a zip, and decent size. And I saw, this was essentially one of the first stalls I went to. Instantly fell in love with this bag and was like, oh, I do want it. But then kind of left, went to look at other stuff, and then eventually kind of came back to it again and was like, no, I shouldn't buy it. And then when I went to buy this fiber, my bag that I was using got caught, I think, on me. Like, it was really awkward how it happened, and I ended up breaking the strap. It was great. And it still had, so it was a strap that would sit on my shoulder, and it still had like these shorter handles like this one, but it was a relatively big bag, and it just felt awkward carrying it around. And I was like, well, that's what I have to do. I don't have another bag here. And then I walked past this stall again, and I was like, I know it's stupid, but I'm going to take it as a sign because the bag that I broke fits in here. And then there was still more room. So it was like, that's perfect. I don't have to awkwardly carry around the bag anymore. And I get a shiny new bag. I'm going to try and fix the other one because I think it should be an easy fix. But for the time being, I have this beautiful bag. And what's so special about it, other than it being beautiful and handmade, is that the linen that's used on the outside here is at least 100 years old. I was like, that's amazing. So one of the like phrases, if you will, that goes with the brand is fabric with a story and Stoff mit Geschichte, in case anyone here speaks a little bit of German. So fabric with a history, and it definitely has that, and that is just such a beautiful thing to have this old fabric and use it for something. And linen gets better with age. It just feels better and better. And so it's just like, oh, it's so beautiful. So it was already a beautiful bag, but then when I learned that, I was like, okay, it's coming home with me now. This is just too beautiful. And yeah, really good size and really rescued me after I stupidly broke my bag. But yeah, so that's everything I got, which is very restraint for me. I know for some people that would still be a lot, but I have to say for me that was probably the least I've ever bought at a yarn show. And normally I'm not someone who really buys anything other than like yarn or fiber. So the fact that my main purchase was a bag was very surprising even to me, but it was just perfect. It was just perfect. So yeah, it was a really interesting experience and really just lovely. Like I said, that I got to talk to people, I got to knit with people, and having, you know, people who watch my videos come up to me and, you know, say how much they love my videos and to thank me and everything. That was just so unexpected. I would have never thought anyone that I, you know, who watches these videos would be there. And yeah, to meet people who watch my video, it was just really nice. It's hard to kind of describe the feeling. I was sort of in shock and in awe. And I'm just really glad I went. I only went on the Saturday. The show was also on the Sunday. But it was a decent sort of journey for me. So I was like, Saturday only. Plus, if I come back on Sunday, I'm probably going to want to buy more. And I don't need to do that. I stayed for most of the show until it pretty much closed. And yeah, and then made my way back home with all my lovely goodies. So it was nice to have finally gone to a yarn show in Austria, because like I said, this has been on for a couple of years now and it's been getting bigger and bigger over the years. And it was just really cool to sort of be a little bit more immersed in the hand dyeing scene here in Austria, because I feel like I know a lot more about the UK and I'm in touch with the UK dyers than I am with the Austrian ones. So it was kind of nice just to see what happens here, and it is a very different style of dyeing. It's something that I've tried to explain to people before, but I feel like if you put a skein in front of me that was hand dyed in the UK, one that was hand dyed in Austria, let's say, or Europe, and one that was hand dyed in the United States, I think I could tell the difference, because I feel like each sort of country and part of the world has its own style of dyeing. I don't know, it's so hard to explain, but yeah, it was just nice to see what goes on in the Austrian hand dyeing scene, if you will. Yeah, that's everything. So I hope that was sort of interesting just to see some of the bits I got, and obviously feel free to check out the links for all these things below. I think they all have online shops. If not, you'll obviously see when you click on the link and there's no shop. But yeah, something really worth checking out because it's beautiful stuff. But yeah, that is everything. So thank you so much for watching, and you'll see a podcast from me soon, which is the old one from August, and then a new one will probably get filmed in the next few days. Yeah, so thank you for watching, and I'll see you in another video soon. Bye!